Hey everyone, welcome to the King Angel Show, where together we learn, react, and discuss and review a whole bunch of topics that go from true crime, murder mystery. We do music, movies, art, culture, a little bit of everything. I'm your host, King Angel, your favorite variety live streamer and content creator. And hold on, let me make sure everything is going well. Yo, okay. I've had situations where I've gone in and the mic is not on or is just not working. Hello, YouTube. Hope everyone's having a great night tonight. Your boy's doing pretty good. Shout out to those that are watching me on Facebook. Hopefully you are. And shout out to those that are watching me on LinkedIn as well. Hope you're having a very good night. Um, yeah, like I said, it's True Crime and Murder Mystery Wednesday. We are going to have some true crime fun tonight. I have 3 cases from Coffeehouse Crimes. Excellent content creator. Actually, let me go ahead and sorry. There you go. This is the content creator. I mean, we've watched videos of his uh, before and reacted and reviewed to it. They're very interesting. I absolutely love his videos. My favorite is still that chapter, but right after that is Coffee House Crimes, and there's a few other content creators that do a pretty good job. Shout out to Southern Girl True Crimes. She does a amazing job. Gets right to the point, and uh, her videos are a little bit more different because she tackles many cases in one. So she does like 5 cases in one video, pretty short each, but really good, really great videos. And like I always say, I can only be so lucky to ever create content as great as they are. So I put it in the chat for the link for Coffeehouse Crimes. Like I said, check out that content creator. Excellent. And I picked 3 videos randomly, so I don't really know. I haven't seen these videos yet. One of the things, uh, it's interesting because since I started doing the true crime and murder mystery Wednesdays, I have not kept up with that chapter like that. Like I used to watch it every week religiously, but because I started doing uh, these episodes on Wednesday, I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I think the best route to take is to just leave the cases for, I don't know, true crime and murder mystery Wednesdays, and that way we can uh, react genuinely together. I mean, I have had situations where people have already seen the episode, but that's very rare. But yeah, we're gonna have plenty of true crime fun. True crime fun. A little tongue twisted tonight. I have no idea what's going on. Like I said before, I hope everyone's having a great day. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. A lot of changes coming up for me. It's actually one of them. My second episode, first episode of True Crime and Murder Mystery that I do on YouTube. Second episode that I do in general. Last one I did on Saturday, and it's good. It's pretty good. Again, everything is slow. You know, slow but steady. But I have a lot of uh, belief in myself and in this community, and I know that it will grow. It's just a matter of time and exposure, and with the changes that are coming in my life now, I think that that is finally within uh, my grasp. May not be completely, but at least it'll be a whole lot more than what it is now. I mean, truth be told, the goal is to uh, have a lot more viewership, get people to want to join my Discord, get people to want to support me on Patreon, uh, liking my videos here, commenting, subscribing to my channel. That's the end goal because I don't know. I want to entertain. That's my thing. That's what my jam. That's what what I want. That's what I want to do. And like I've said before, numerous times, especially if you watch me over on Twitch. Listen, this life isn't easy already as it is. You add on to it all the other crap that happens in life, all the shit you have to deal with too, and yeah, it just becomes kind of like a monotonous thing, and you get old, and that's it. Your boy doesn't want that for himself. So yeah, some changes are coming very soon, um, and I'm more than happy, more than excited. I'm ecstatic, to be honest with you. I mean, change is uncomfortable, and it's like it's hard, and it's it's awkward, and kind of makes you feel like pretty nauseous at times. You have intrusive thoughts and all these things. It's just a whole bunch of weird stuff, but it's all part of change, and it all goes and mends very well with that process that you have to go through to be able to accomplish that change. That's like the difficult part. And I don't know. I guess just knowing that this is the end result, that like I'm finally taking a little more grasp on my life and the things that I want. It's scary, but it's pretty exhilarating at the same time. I'm over talking here, but what can I say? It's how I'm feeling right now. It's what's going through my head. And like I said, truth be told, I mean, this is my happy place. Being in front of a camera. I should have done this a long time ago. Can't beat yourself up for things, and people have like regrets and stuff like that. But damn, my regret is that I never did this before. I always wanted to. I'd always mention it to my wife, like it's something that I've always Ah, but still beat myself up because I should have taken this. I should have taken the steps to become a content creator a long time ago. Should have taken the steps of becoming a live streamer a long time ago. But things happen for a reason, I guess, and I don't know. You have to trust the process, but nonetheless, it's still my happy place. And if I would have, or one of my happy places, it's not my only happy place. But yeah, if I would have known that this would have been like this, I would have definitely started this a long time ago. But well, that's neither here nor there. You can't go back in time. It's the one thing we can't do, huh? As humans, it can cause chaos. Can't go back in time. All right, we have, like I said before, a pretty fun true crime episode tonight. We're doing Coffeehouse Crimes, 3 episodes total. They're pretty short, so that's why I was like 15, 20-ish minutes, maybe like 25 minutes. So that's why I picked 3 of them. Uh, as always, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can like my videos, comment on them, share it out to your loved ones, and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I am transitioning from Twitch to YouTube as of right now. I'm still dipping my toes into live streaming on YouTube, seeing how it goes, seeing how my viewership, uh, seeing if that has any type of difference, if I get any viewers at all and whatnot, if I am able to steadily grow this community. Time will tell. That's the name of the game. But I would normally go live on Twitch Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, like today, but I'm here on YouTube doing True Crime and Murder Mystery Wednesday. And like last Saturday, I would have gone live on Twitch at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the variety show, but obviously I'm not doing that for now, so it's been transitioned over here to YouTube. I haven't picked next Saturday's episode yet, but I know it's going to be really interesting because I have a few options. One of them is the Library of Alexandria, which is in and of itself probably going to take a really long time to go through because of this sheer importance of it and how the destruction of that library caused us to go back in time 200 years. It literally erased progress of human beings that would have put us at a different stage on our path to enlightenment, which looks a little stale right now, installed in one place. Anti-intellectualism is crazy. It's rising, this shit. It's insane. One of the reasons why I do that Saturday episode, dude, because knowledge is power, and the more I think this is when we need it the most. Because there's no possible way that it can be lost like that. Come on now. Knowledge is power. It's the only way we're gonna achieve improvement as human beings. It's the literal cause of survival of human beings is education and knowledge. It's a hot topic for me. So yeah, I'm transitioning from Twitch, variety show, Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll let you know. Follow me on Twitter or any of my other social media, or you can join my public Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. We watch movies, album listens, concerts, documentaries, TV shows, general chat, community gaming, a little bit of everything. And if you want to further support me, if you like what I do, become a Patreon member for $2 a month. That will give you a whole range of benefits. Full unedited videos. We have reaction videos exclusive to Patreon members only. My concert videos exclusive to Patreon members only. I'm adding a few other benefits as well that I think would be great for Patreon members. And we also have a private Discord channel that is linked to that Patreon for members only. And we do the same things we do in the public Discord, but in private channels, basically. So that's benefits that you get when you join my Patreon, and a whole lot more. So again, that's $2 a month. All those links you can find in the description box below, or it's kind of always below. That's the whole thing. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's jump right into this. I started a little bit late today. I apologize for that. I was trying to get OBS to work and whatnot. I don't know what was happening. There's always something with these apps and whatnot. Sound like a fucking old man. All right, like I said before, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you being here. Time is precious. Time is valuable. Time is borrowed, and the fact that you're spending it here with me, taking the time that life has bestowed upon you to want to listen to me rant and watch these true crime videos with me, or my Saturday shows where we learn things and whatnot. I appreciate it. Your continued support means the world to me, and the fact that you're giving me your time means even more. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Let's jump right into this. I already have it prepped up here. Bam! Love it. All right. You know, your boy gets tired of this light. And it's this fluorescent light. And let me see. I don't know. Y'all tell me how it looks. Wait. It's a blue light. It's supposed to be a warm light. Let's see. You know what? It looks a little bit more natural. Let's see how it looks. That's the other one. That's this one. That's this one. I don't know. Let me know in chat what you guys think. Kind of like this one. That natural light is a lot better. The fluorescent light is it's weird and it's getting to me. First time? There you go. It's the first time for everything. Dude, my wife has been telling me that for such a long time, and I was arguing with her, but look at that. So if you're watching, you won. All right. First case is called The Family Murdered in the Mountains. So we'll check this out. Like I said before, this is Coffeehouse Crimes. I posted on chat the link to this content creator's videos. Please check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Excellent content creator. Like I said before, one can only dream of being as talented as these content creators that make such amazing videos. But you'll see. I'll get there. Time and patience. That's all I need, and persistence. I'll make it. I'll fucking do that. But nonetheless, let's check out this first one. So it's, again, The Family Murdered in the Mountains. The case of the Johnson family. The case of the Jameson family. And let's do it.
A young family from Mifflin vanish without a trace. Just a few days later, their truck is found in the mountains with over $32,000 and their starving dog inside. The more investigators looked into this case, the more blurry the lines became. What happened to the Jameson family? My name is Adrian, and today we're flying over Oklahoma to look at the Jameson family in October 2009. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and enjoy. Let's investigate. In October 2009, Bobby Jameson was 44 and his wife Sherilyn Jameson was 40. Their daughter Madison was 6 years old at the time. They lived in Eufaula, Oklahoma, and they were a free-spirited family. While happy in Eufaula, Oklahoma, they felt that the town lifestyle was maybe a little too much for them, so they decided to move into the mountains, where they would then live on their shipping container on 40 acres of land. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to minimise your footprint, but this idea was new to them. It hadn't been discussed before with their friends or family. It sounded more like a spur-of-the-moment idea. So on October the 8th, 2009, the Jameson family loaded up their truck, and they decided to pay a visit to a landowner in the mountains who they were trying to buy a plot of land off of. This was the last time they were seen again, however. Their disappearance was initially not noted. Only after a couple days did friends and family start to worry about them. And of course 8 days later, on October the 16th, the family truck was found around about 30 miles northeast of where they lived in Eufaula, on the plot of land they were interested in buying on the mountains. This truck was found by the local Latimer County Sheriff. And this is where things start to get a little strange. The abandoned truck was locked, but inside the sheriff would find Bobby's wallet, Sherilyn's purse, the family's GPS, the family's mobile phone, over $32,000, and the family's dog Maisie, who at this point was very malnourished and starving to death. Friends and family of Bobby and Sherilyn were stunned. They were more stunned that there was $32,000 found in the truck. They knew Bobby and Sherilyn very well. They were both unemployed at the time and living off of disability checks, so $32,000 was not something that they had access to. The truck showed no signs of forced entry, but it was parked in an unusual position, and Bobby's mobile phone contained images. One image was of Madison taken just a few hundred feet from where the truck was found, using the phone's GPS data, and it showed an image of Madison looking unhappy. Was this image taken by the Madison family, or was it taken by someone else, and why was Madison unhappy? The next day, over 400 people volunteered in a land and air search operation. However, no dice, nothing came from this. The Latimer County Sheriff, Israel Beauchamp, said,
"There did not appear to be any signs that the Jamesons were in trouble or looking to start a new life."
However, the more that he and his police department investigated the case, the more potential scenarios to the Jameson family opened up. The sheriff shared his thoughts that while most missing persons cases usually start with a plethora of scenarios and eventually are wound down to just one or two possibilities, the Jameson family was the opposite. All search efforts turned up nothing. The case eventually went cold in November when hunting season in the mountains opened up. A little over...
Damn, 4 years later, $32,000 is a lot of money to just find like that in a car. It's crazy. That obviously kind of leads me to believe that maybe this isn't a robbery or it didn't have anything to do with money, because $32,000, again, it's a lot of cash to just have just abandoned in a vehicle like that. Second of all, the image of the kid, that looks creepy. That looks really, I don't think she looks happy though. It looks a little forced. Maybe that was just me. Maybe that was my impression. Let me know in chat what you guys think. But me personally, I thought she looks scared, and she looks kind of forced into having to do what she was doing. Like just like sitting there for the picture. I don't know. The little kid does not look happy, and I hope that was her parents that took that picture, but I don't know, by the looks of things, could well be that it was not them. Dang. And all they wanted to do was buy a house in the mountains. It's crazy. Alright, let's move on, but I'm getting that little feeling in my stomach already, because obviously we know it doesn't end well, but getting from point A to point Z is that whole stretch in between. It sometimes creates knots in my stomach, because I mean, so many cases that we've covered here on we've reviewed, reacted and discussed to here on the show. A lot of them you have to have some type of thick skin to be able to go through the story, because some of them are just pretty horrific, and the capacity that human beings have to not only hurt someone but take their life is crazy to me. Like, I have a difficult time with people that kill like insects and stuff like that. Like, I don't really do that, and it's just me. It's not like a holier than thou kind of thing. I don't really do it myself, but there's people that like, I don't know. It's just they have that ability to just, I don't even know. Sometimes we've seen cases that's like passionate crimes or whatnot, or accidents that happen, but when it's like actual like first degree murder, it's crazy. And it's crazy just how far and the lengths that human beings go to not only commit the crimes they commit, but try to cover their tracks. Jeez, it's insane up until this point. But yeah, let's move on. We'll continue with Coffeehouse Crimes.
But 4 years had passed with no further information or evidence. That was until November the 16th, 2013. Two hunters were in the Sandboys mountain region when they came across a unsightly discovery. They discovered the human remains of 3 deteriorated bodies. All 3 bodies were found lying down next to each other in a line, execution style. It was almost instantly speculated that it was the Jameson family. And of course, over time, forensics were able to conclude that that was true. The 2 adults and 1 child found were that of the Jamesons. They were found very close to their truck, just 3 miles north actually. Along with their remains, police found shoes, clothes, adult teeth and adult bone fragments. The cause and manner of death were unknown due to timely decay, and although there was no evidence of trauma, it was noted that there was a small hole in the back of Bobby's skull, possibly from a bullet, but we don't know that. It could be from wildlife over the 4 years that they were left on the mountain range. Their deaths were recorded as under suspicious circumstances. I'm not sure what else you'd put really. But further clues didn't add up to the Jamesons' case. For example, the Jamesons had a home surveillance system, and the day before they left on their journey, this camera recorded footage of them loading up the truck. There's not a lot to say about it really. It's a little odd that Bobby and Sherilyn loaded the truck up 20-25 times. Seems excessive. Israel stated in an interview that Bobby and Sherilyn looked trance-like while loading up the truck. Almost everyone who's reviewed this case has used the same words, trance-like. But personally speaking, they look normal to me. I don't think it's odd to not talk while you're loading up a van or a truck. You just want to get the job done. The quality of the surveillance footage also was pretty poor. I personally don't think that this video holds any substantial information. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? One thing that the surveillance footage did pick up, however, was a brown briefcase and a .22 caliber pistol that Sherilyn owned. Both were loaded into the truck, however, both items are not found on the truck when the sheriff found the truck. So what happened to the Jameson family? There are a few theories as to what could have happened. We'll review the few now and I'll go over mine at the end. The first theory is that the Jameson family went out for a walk into the mountains but got lost. Being exposed to the elements and hypothermia, they died in the following days. I find this theory hard to believe though. Historic weather data shows that the temperature never dropped below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, not even at night time. And although the area experienced rain, it wasn't that strong. They would have also only walked for about 3 miles before dying. I don't realistically see how this would happen with a group of healthy people. Let's also not forget all the possessions that they left in their car. Mobile phones and GPSs were left behind, the 2 things required really for when walking. The family's dog Maisie was left in the car. Even more unnerving, over $32,000 were left in there. Who in their right mind would leave that much money in their car for a walk? Personally speaking, I don't see this theory being realistic, only possible. So what about theory 2? What if one of them or both of them were not in the right frame of mind? Could have this been a homicide-suicide? Letters written by Sherilyn were in fact found in one of the bags in the truck. These letters were addressed to her husband, accusing him of being a slob and a hermit. She ranted about him for 11 pages, so there was a little bit of tension in the relationship. Sherilyn also had a track record of mental illnesses. She was in fact bipolar. If you have bipolar disorder, you can be euphoric at times, you can be depressive at others. Could Sherilyn have killed her husband and daughter, and then killed herself? Well, actually, it's very unlikely. Sherilyn's mother, Connie, shared that actually they were both very good parents to their daughter, and they'd never hurt her. And while they as parents both had their moments arguing between one another, they were in fact a very happy couple. Connie had lived with them for a period of time, and in that period of time had noticed no red flags. The reason for being up in the mountain was also for planning ahead. I'm sure if they were planning their futures, they had no motive to end it right there and then. The couple, however, were both infatuated with death and the paranormal, and witchcraft had been an interest in the family. A witchcraft book was found in the truck. This belonged to Sherilyn. There was also threatening witchcraft graffiti on the Jamesons' shipping container back on their plot of land in Eufaula. This graffiti was written by Sherilyn, who believed that the neighbours were poisoning the cats. A local pastor, Gary Brandon, had also claimed that Bobby had shared and confessed to them that he was reading the Satanic Bible. Bobby also claimed to him that there was 4 ghosts in his house, and he'd asked the pastor if he had any special bullets to kill these ghosts. Okay. Theory 3 was that the family were murdered by Bobby's father, Bob Dean. As little as 6 months before the Jamesons disappeared, Bobby petitioned a protective order against his father, who had threatened to kill them twice before. There was a lot of hate between Bob and Bobby. Bobby worked for free for several years on his father's gas station, being promised that he would become half owner of it eventually. This never happened, however, and it infuriated Bobby, and that's when the relationship between the two broke down. But during the time that the Jameson family went missing, Bob Dean was actually in hospital. In fact, he died 2 months later. His brother Jack Jameson didn't believe that Bob was either mentally or physically able to kill his son, particularly during that time while he was in hospital. Since Bob Dean died in December 2009, years before the Jameson family's bodies would ever be found, we're not able to ask Bob what happened. Connie still believes that foul play was part of this, though she doesn't believe it was Bob Dean. This leads us into theory 4, that the Jameson family were killed by a cult. At first when I heard about this theory I was skeptical, but after a little bit of research I see it's actually possible. Although cults were much more obvious a few decades ago, they do still exist in America. In fact, there are multiple cults in the Oklahoma area, including the United White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Connie claims...
Sorry, but really quickly, listen, I live in California. This is brewing ground for cults. You name it, California's birthed that cult before. What do you like? What kind of cult you're into? You like religious cults? We have them. Do you like fitness cults? Come on. We have a dime a dozen. Do you like new age spirituality kind of cults? Boom. You have that. I mean, weed cults here if you really think about it. It's not like, and we're just mostly hungry and sleepy, but fall asleep in the middle of a sermon or something while they're singing because I got high or something. But in all honesty, this state is each state has like their own thing that they're known for. California's known for all the cults that come out from here. Like, what other cult, has its start here in California? Charles Manson. Even cults like that, like death cults and stuff. And yeah, it's all here in California, so I can definitely understand. He may have diminished a little bit the actual sheer amount of it because there's so many of them. I know a lot of people that were actually raised in cults. I've had employees in the past and whatnot that have had they had their whole lives in that cult, and like their parents and their grandparents and all that, and it's like cults that are deep in mountains and woods and stuff like that, and really hard to get. It's like Far Cry 5 shit. If you haven't played Far Cry 5, I would highly recommend. I mean, it's not the greatest game in the world. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the story was amazing, but I've always been interested in cults, and not to join one, but the psychology behind it and how people can get manipulated to that point. B, the fact that they manipulate people in groups, and C, the cult leaders in and of themselves, they are horrible, horrendous people, but it's interesting to see it. And yeah, California's a brewing place for this. Like I said before, I appreciate everyone being here. Let's continue on with this first case.
Claimed that a local cult had a hit list with Sherilyn's name on it. She received an anonymous phone call from a woman shortly after their disappearances, who said that she used to be in a white supremacist group that had a murder book. Inside this book, it contained Sherilyn's name, among other names, some of which are also missing to this day. Although this could be fake, what was true is that Bobby and Sherilyn both had another man renting at their property just a few weeks before they went missing. This man, Kenneth Bellows, is known to be a white supremacist, and once he started sharing his ideologies and opinions to Sherilyn and her daughter, and started insulting Sherilyn's heritage, she stuck a gun to his head and told him to leave and never come back. Although Kenneth had a solid alibi during the time that the Jamesons went missing, he was in prison. It is plausible that he asked other members of his cult to take revenge on the Jamesons.
They had some words about it, and she started to get scared. He was actually in jail during the times that they had went missing.
And our final main theory is drugs. It's common knowledge that drugs can influence strange behaviour. This could maybe explain why the Jameson family were acting strange in the surveillance footage that was captured just the day before they left. And maybe that explains the $32,000 found in the truck. Maybe it wasn't to buy a plot of land, it was actually for a drug deal. There were reports to the police that the Jamesons were acting strange the days before that they disappeared. And these signs of paranoia are exactly how you'd expect users of methamphetamine to act and behave like. However, Israel said that there was no evidence to back this up. The police never found any drugs, they never found any drug equipment, they never found any traces of drugs. Besides, why would you bring your 6-year-old daughter to a drug deal? What is this, show and tell? The money was also never taken. The only motive to kill the Jamesons would be to keep the drugs and take the money. I'm not so sure that this theory fully rests with me. I can see the possibility, drug deals do go wrong, and the mountains are also well known for running rampant with meth labs and unlawful folk. So, maybe? But it still doesn't explain why the money was left in the truck, unless there was more money, perhaps. So, what's the coffeehouse verdict? The Jameson family went missing under very strange circumstances. The mystery that they left behind is so loose that so many scenarios remain. Personally speaking, I'm almost certain that this was a murder of some kind. I think I'd like to know more about the landowner. He was the last person to speak to the Jameson family after all, and he owned the land that the family went missing on. He last spoke to the family on October the 9th, 2009, meaning that he spoke to them an entire day after that they left their house. And he only lived 400 meters from where the truck was found. The only way off the mud track was by road which passed his building. Why didn't he check to make sure that they'd left? And why did it take him 8 days to report that the truck was still on his property? He also offered very little help to the investigators. He was reluctant to talk. Israel did also share that
The man claimed he never saw the family after that, nor did he see anyone else go up or come down.
Is it possible that the Jameson family, who were planning to buy this plot of land, actually brought more than $32,000 with them on their trip? We know that from surveillance footage a brown briefcase was missing from the car. Historic data shows that the plot of land that they were interested in buying was around $70,000 at the time, so maybe they had two halves. Perhaps they were ambushed outside of their car, with the rest of money in hand. It is also a possibility that the Jamesons were being watched. If a cult was planning to kill the family, this would have been the best time for them to do it. But it could also have nothing to do with a cult, or drugs, or buying a plot of land. During the initial investigation, a detective working on the case characterised both Bobby and Sherilyn as scammers. At the point in time that they went missing, they had several lawsuits opened against other people, including Bobby's father, 3 people that they had a car accident with in 2005, and the school that Madison was previously enrolled into. Connie and those close to the Jameson family had no idea how the two built up $32,000. That's a lot of money for 2 people that are unemployed and on disability checks. Maybe they scammed this money out of the wrong people that were now seeking revenge. Either way, through cult, landlord, or revenge, all 3 bodies were found lying face down in a row execution style. This indicates that this was most likely a murder and not through suicide. The hunters who found the remains said, and even argued with the police, that it looked like Bobby's skull had a small bullet hole at the back. Murder also completely explains why the family left the truck in the way that it was found. They weren't planning on death. Why would you leave your truck with $32,000 in the boot? Why would you leave your dog there to starve to death? But who knows how the Jameson family ultimately died, or why? There are no suspects in the case, and no arrests have been made. This will very likely be a case that remains unsolved, and I don't think I'll be going to Oklahoma's mountains anytime soon. Hi there, and thank you so much for watching.
Sweet. That was a great first episode. First case that we just saw. That was amazing. Have a little... I just looked up the Wikipedia, so... Alright, so it says the Jameson family deaths occurred on or after October 8th, 2009, when the Jameson family of Eufaula, Oklahoma, United States, Bobby Jameson, his wife Sherilyn, and daughter Madison mysteriously disappeared. The family was reportedly considering the purchase of a 40-acre plot of land near Red Oak, about 30 miles, which is 48 kilometers, from Eufaula at the time that they vanished. Their suspected remains were found in November 2013 and positively identified by the Oklahoma Medical Center on July 3rd, 2014. No cause of death was determined, and the circumstances surrounding their disappearance remain unknown. So the initial investigation into the Jameson family's disappearance indicated that they had probably not vanished of their own accord. The family's pickup truck was found abandoned in Latimer County, Oklahoma, a short distance south of Kinta, a few days after their disappearance. The Jamesons' bodies were not found, but their malnourished dog, Macy, was still in the truck. Poor Macy. Also discovered were the family's ID cards, wallets, mobile phones, a GPS system, and about $32,000 in cash. The Jamesons were not known for carrying large amounts of cash with them. Footage from the family's home surveillance system, time-stamped the day they left their house, showed the couple making several silent trips between their vehicle and home as they methodically packed to leave. In the footage, the couple's movements were described as trance-like. The video also shows Sherry Lynn place a brown briefcase in the vehicle. Former Sheriff Beauchamp remarked that he believed the briefcase could be an important clue. Both the briefcase and Sherry Lynn's handgun have never been recovered. Dang. The skeletal remains of two adults and a child were discovered by two hunters in a remote spot of Latimer County in November 2013, more than 4 years after the family went missing. And less than 3 miles, which is 4.8 kilometers away from where the family's pickup truck had been abandoned. Wow. The remains were widely presumed to be those of the missing family, though the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office had to use anthropological and forensic pathological testing to identify them. Officials confirmed on July 3rd, 2014, wow, almost a year later, that the remains belonged to the Jamesons. A cause of death was not determined due to the heavily decomposed state of the bodies. So here's some theories. It says, before the remains were discovered, several theories emerged about the family's disappearance, such as that they had faked their own deaths, were in witness protection, were murdered, or had died by group suicide. Shortly before the disappearance, Bobby Jameson was involved in a bitter lawsuit with his father, Bob Dean Jameson, claiming that he had threatened the family and had struck him with his vehicle in November 2008. Bobby also alleged that his father was involved in meth and criminal activity. Police do not believe that Bob Dean Jameson was involved in the family's disappearance. Another popular theory was that the Jamesons themselves were drug dealers. Investigators cited the large amount of cash found in the truck and the apparent strange behavior exhibited by Bobby and Sherilyn shortly before they went missing. The Jamesons have reportedly told their local pastor, Gary Brandon, on separate occasions that they had seen spirits inside their home and that Bobby had allegedly claimed to have been reading from the Satanic Bible. Basically, a good chunk of the ones that Coffeehouse Crimes just narrated. To be honest, I personally think that I mean, it looks to me as though there's a fifth person at this point involved, maybe one or two people, maybe there were people already in the woods. It doesn't look like a drug deal gone wrong. It doesn't look like they did it to themselves. I mean, who knows, to be honest with you, but I can agree with what Coffeehouse Crimes said, and if the owner of that plot and of the land, and obviously the house that was pretty close to them, has not been interrogated up to this point, that is extremely first bad on the officers for having to do that, for not taking the time to question that person, because that would have been a person of interest if the car and the bodies were found on his land close to his house and he reported the car 8 days later. I would have probably questioned him. He would have may have some type of information, or if he would have not have any information, at least you would get some type of body language read from him or anything. But to just discard and leave him from the whole investigation as if he wouldn't play a pivotal role, or could have potentially played a pivotal role in this whole thing happening. I mean, it did happen on his land. And he was the last person to see them alive. So, yeah, that is pretty weird. Then again, the whole situation is extremely weird, to be quite honest with you. $32,000 really is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of cash to just leave in a car like that. And yeah, no, that's crazy. All right, that was that first case. The family murdered in the mountains, the case of the Jameson family. We'll move on to the next one. I have the Prince of the House. Hey, be nice. I have a jean jacket on, so he's not going to get very far. All right. That's neither here nor there. I won't distract you with my cat anymore. We'll move on to case number 2. Hey, stop it. Stop. We'll move on to case number 2. Stop it. Move on to case number... ow! His mom opened the door. Uh-oh. Okay, so this next case is called The Killer Who Kept His Victims in an Icebox. The case of Denise. Can't see the name very well, sorry. Because on top of that, okay, so it's a killer who kept his victim in an icebox. The case of Denise Huber. Let's check this case out. Like I said before, I appreciate you being here. That first case was pretty awesome. Again, this is another Coffeehouse Crimes video. Link to the content creator in chat. Please check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Like his videos. Like I said before, him in that chapter, they make excellent content. Southern Girl, True Crimes. There's a whole bunch of other true crime content creators. And also like entertainment content creators. That's my whole thing. I want to be an entertainer. And I want to have different things. I don't want to just have one certain thing that I do, but yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay, whatever. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Yeah. Playing this. Moving on. The killer who kept his victim in an icebox. Jeez.
While most of us enjoy nights out with friends, we rarely consider the negative consequences. There is always going to be an element of risk when going out for drinks after dark. But what if one of those nights turned out to be your last? Sadly, this would be the case for Denise Huber, when, after a night out, she failed to return home. But what happened after her disappearance, and who was to blame? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to another video by Coffeehouse Crime. Today we're looking at the case of Denise Huber. And as always, just to let you know that I post solved, unsolved, and strange cases here weekly, so if that's your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to Coffeehouse Crime. Now with that said, let's begin today's case. Go grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and sit back. This is the case of Denise Huber. Grab your sunscreen and your favourite pair of flip-flops. Our journey today takes us stateside, over to the east coast of California. We're zeroing in to an area known as Orange County, and Orange County's name plays no tricks.
Sorry about that. That's a... Wait, hold on. That's what?
Today takes us stateside, over to the east coast of California.
Okay. West Coast. Let's... I get it. Hold on, bud. Okay. And it's an honest mistake. Oh, well. Whatever. But, just to correct, yeah, it's West Coast. That's, come on. California. East Coast, New York, other side of the of the U.S. This side, West Coast, California. So, yeah.
We're zeroing in to an area known as Orange County, and Orange County's name plays no tricks. It's an area teeming with sunny beach resorts sprawled around two famous theme parks. With Disneyland Anaheim and Knott's Berry Farm, Orange County is a very desirable place to visit for a holiday and has plenty to do. With its beautiful weather, it takes advantage of its coastline with many harbours, most of which are backdropped by the urban sprawl. Today we're heading to Newport Beach, and it's here that we meet 23-year-old Denise Huber. Still classed as a young adult, Denise and her brother Jeff still lived at home with their parents, Father Dennis and Mother Ione Huber. So I apologise in advance if the names Dennis and Denise start melding together, but Denise was born on the 22nd of November 1967. She had a positive upbringing with two loving parents, and the family engaged in a pleasant lifestyle within the lively beach town. This environment suited Denise well. In her younger years, she was described as bubbly, vibrant, fun-loving, and someone you wanted to be around. Denise's support from her parents allowed her to excel in school. She was well-liked, received good grades, and eventually attended the University of California, Irvine to study social science. Denise was outgoing and also attractive, and this didn't go unnoticed by those around her. Throughout her young life, she had several boyfriends, but none of them would stick around for too long. She enjoyed going to events and parties whenever given the opportunity, and being an avid fan of the Sacramento Kings, she would often go to the local basketball games. Now, another one of her hobbies included her supporting her favourite bands, and on the 2nd of June 1991, Denise planned to see English solo artist Morrissey at the Forum in Inglewood. Denise had always loved the alternative rock genre that England brought to the US, so she jumped at the chance to see Morrissey play live. In the few months prior, she had recently gotten into a relationship with her new boyfriend Stephen, and although the two had planned to go together, Stephen was unable to attend last minute. He instead insisted that she go with their mutual friend Rob Calvert. The three of them worked together at the spaghetti factory, so they all knew each other well enough. Besides, it could be unsafe for an attractive young woman to go all alone. Pulling up to Rob's house at around 7:30 p.m, Denise wore a short black dress, stockings and high heels. Rob offered to drive, but after looking at his car, she insisted they go in her car instead. On the way to the concert, the pair stopped at a liquor store, bought some vodka and orange juice, and mixed the two over ice, a cocktail that is commonly known as a screwdriver. The two of them arrived at the Forum Club in Inglewood at around 8 p.m, where they then sat back in Denise's car and conversed over a couple of mixed drinks. A few shots later, and they were ready to get the night going. There is nothing eventful to report about the concert. A few more drinks were had, the two enjoyed their night, and the gig ended at around 11:30 p.m. However, saying that, they were not quite ready to end the night just yet. Denise drove them to a bar on Long Island, where they had a couple of beers before leaving the bar at around 1:30 a.m. With work the next day, they decided to call it a night. And after safely arriving at Rob's house at around 2 a.m, Denise bid farewell to her friend as she set off for her own home. However, and unfortunately, as the saying often goes around here, very little did Rob know that this would be the last time he would see Denise alive. June the 3rd, 1991. Dennis and Ione woke up to another typical workday. Assuming Denise was asleep in her bedroom, they didn't bother to check in on her, but her parents began to notice when she failed to get up for work. Heading over to her bedroom, they found it empty, with everything left the same way it was the night before. Now, Denise was a 23-year-old woman and not a teenager, so although she lived with her parents, she had free rein to come and go as she pleased. However, saying that, she was a very sensible graduate who held down 2 jobs, and it was very unlike her to not return home when she had work the following day. With it being a Monday, the pair went off to work, expecting to see Denise later on that afternoon. But after returning home several hours later, she was still nowhere to be found. With their concerns growing, they called her workplace, a few of her close friends, and even the local police departments, but still nothing came up. They therefore made the decision to report her as missing. Just in case she had heard from their daughter, the Hubers called Denise's best friend, Tammy Brown, but unfortunately, no dice. She too was wondering where Denise was. Tammy made several phone calls to mutual friends, and this included Rob, who was, at the time, the last known person to see her. To try and find any sign of Denise, Tammy drove around the area, and on her way to the Huber household, there it was. She spotted Denise's car parked on the side of the Corona Del Mar freeway, a short distance away from her home in Newport Beach. But why was her car here? Tammy immediately called Denise's parents, where she waited for them to arrive before checking the car, as she was too scared to do so alone. With the car's flat rear tyres and the hazard lights ominously flickering by, the vehicle was left in an abnormal state. The trio would find nothing inside, however, and there was no sign of Denise, with the keys to her car still missing. It appeared that perhaps Denise had left to go and get help. Needless to say, but in the year 1991, mobile phones were not yet common. But Denise's car was close to several payphones, a motel, and a walkway leading into town. This, of course, was not a comforting fact. The search for Denise began as the sun rose the following day. It truly was a county-wide effort, with police, family, friends, and the public all being involved in the operation. Posters were put up across local towns and cities. TV appeals were aired and billboards raised. However, all of these efforts unfortunately led to nothing. Police dogs would detect her scent from the vehicle, but then lost it 25 meters down the freeway. Otherwise, no sign of Denise was found anywhere, and her car, haphazardly left behind, revealed no clues as to where she could have gone. As the days turned into weeks, and eventually into months, both Dennis and Ione grieved for the missing daughter, with their minds plagued with speculation and horror. The hardest part to her disappearance was not knowing what exactly happened to Denise. And this story of the girl next door who had suddenly vanished while on a night out gripped the hearts and minds of Orange County and people afar. Although everyone was aware of it, the case of Denise Huber would sadly turn cold. And as the case hit the 3-year mark, both Dennis and Ione would wonder if they would ever find out what happened to their daughter. That would be until a seemingly random encounter would blow the case wide open. The date was July the 13th, 1994. In an area just outside of Prescott in Arizona, Elaine Court and her partner Jack were heading to a home of a local man to purchase some paint. They had previously met this man at a local daily market. He asked the pair to come by and pick up some fresh tins from his home, which was found on Cochise Drive in Dewey, Arizona. The man's name is John Familaro. Born in Long Island, New York in 1957, he and his family moved to Orange County when he was still very young. John was described as quiet and awkward, but despite this shy facade, he often misbehaved during school, had difficulty learning due to antisocial behaviour, and didn't care for those around him. And this was probably due to the way he was raised. Although Angelo was a kind and caring parent, his mother Anne was the total opposite. She was extremely strict, and often used her religion to scare her children into obedience. In fact, Anne was so controlling that she wouldn't allow John or his siblings to see their friends after school. And when they were teenagers, they were forbidden to date or be in relationships. I won't go into it, but Anne insisted on watching her children herself, even into their teenage years. And apparently, this brought along some rather disgusting encounters between her and her children. John and his siblings were also prohibited from speaking to each other unless given permission. They were all banned from talking about politics and religion, and
I mean, it's bad enough that you have to live under those circumstances, but then, bro, and be embarrassed that you're still in your teens and you like your mom insists on bathing you. What is this? I mean, I don't know. I call it like the weird Game of Thrones shit because that show has a lot. I mean, I don't understand. Is it me or is it that like I don't get it? It's crazy. Damn. It's bad enough. I can only imagine the embarrassment of this human being of having to practically be forced, because at this point, like, I mean, yeah, she had been doing it since he was a child, but like well into his teens as well, probably into his like 18. Man, that's extremely weird. And human beings are just Out of their minds. Jeez. Good case so far. Not gonna lie. Pretty great case. Alright, moving on.
Were only allowed to sit in specific seats in the living and dining room. John's abnormal childhood is likely a direct reflection of his mother's hostile and compulsive behaviours, and eventually, this would later make its way into his adult life too. After moving out of the family home in his late teens, John made several attempts to put himself into a professional career. However, every time he did this, he would fail. Following in his brother's footsteps, who, by the way, was fired for sexual misconduct, John first tried to become a chiropractor, but he dropped out before finishing his course. After that, he tried to fulfill his dream of becoming a police officer, but he failed training a total of 4 times, and gave up after that. Ultimately, John settled on the more straightforward path of house painting. And with this job being both public and close proximity, he managed to spark up multiple relationships with women. This man was a strange and potentially dangerous individual, but at least in this moment of time, he had never been arrested or in trouble with the law. That would all change shortly after he met Elaine and Jack. Although John remained calm at the open-air market, he appeared to be uncomfortable with them near his home. John rummaged through the paint cans and ushered the couple off the driveway as if he were in a rush. He told them he had moved to Arizona about 6 months prior, but this statement was odd, as his home was packed with junk, boxes and debris. They also noted that there were hundreds of paint cans littering his garden. The most significant item on the property was a rental truck, but if he had moved here only 6 months prior, then why did he need it? After collecting the paint from John, the family returned to the car, where, below the dashboard, Elaine wrote down his number plate. The plate was Californian, and not even registered to their home state. Believing the truck had been stolen, Elaine reported it to the police. Authorities ran this plate through the registry, and, lo and behold, it was reported missing 6 months prior. With a search warrant in hand, they then attended the Famularo residence, and as they began to inspect the property, they noticed a cord running from the truck into his home. Approaching the truck with bolt cutters, they gained entry through the back door. Paint cans, cardboard boxes, and plastic bags filled the container. And nestled amongst all the junk was a freezer. At least they could now guess why there was a power cord connected to the truck, but believing the freezer would contain drugs, they called in the narcotics team. Authorities opened the freezer door. However, they were unprepared for what they would find. Peering in, they could see a pile of plastic bags, and reaching out from an opening was a human hand. Removing the top layer of plastic bags revealed the frozen body of a young woman. She was lying in a semi-fetal position, with handcuffed hands behind her back. Her face was covered in duct tape from her eyes down to her mouth. To add to this, she was also entirely naked. Her skull was shattered, so much so that shards of it had left holes in some of the bags that encased her. Shocked officers then resealed the freezer to preserve the body for a proper autopsy. John watched the gruesome discovery unfold from his window, and of course, he was arrested immediately. The man was emotionless. He said almost nothing throughout his arrest, only ending his silence to ask for a lawyer. The body was later examined by forensics, where they had to use a hairdryer to thaw certain body parts for examination. This was necessary to obtain more accurate results for things such as fingerprints. The fingerprints from the body were found to match a Californian driver's license, and sadly, it was of Denise Huber.
Damn. That sucks. Wow, what a gruesome way. See, I don't lie when I tell you that human beings are, or some human beings are exceptional at being horrendous and horrific towards others, and wow, that sucks. It's crazy because I found an article. I'll read it once Adrian is done. I say his first name. Well, he did say he said his name at the beginning of the video, so it is Adrian. But we'll call him Coffeehouse Crime. We'll call him Coffeehouse Crimes because that's the name of his channel, and that's what we're watching. So, I mean, he did. I'm sorry. It just left me a little startled. Again, it's always the thing with true crime cases, and it just gruesome. Sometimes it's just like forms a little knot in your stomach. And it sucks because she had just come out of a concert and she had just enjoyed her night and she had to go through that. Damn. Rest in peace. That sucks. Okay. Well, like I said before, I'll let the case go through and then I'll read an article by the Los Angeles Times that came out a few years ago. This was the case was in 1991, so this article came out in 2016. I'll read a bit about it when the video is done. It's a little long, so I'll keep it to the most interesting parts, and then I'll try not to repeat anything that the case has already gone through. But yeah, they're basically interviewing her parents 25 years after this all happened. So yeah. All right, let's move on. What a gruesome way.
It would take days for officers to search John's overly hoarded house. He clearly had a problem throwing anything away, and fortunately, this included vital evidence. They eventually found various suspicious items and many of Denise's belongings. In a box labelled Christmas, they found her shoes, purse, makeup, and keys. The box also contained the outfit that she wore the night she disappeared, which had been torn down one side. In another box, authorities found matching duct tape, blood-stained rags, men's clothing, a nail puller, and finally, a blood-stained hammer. DNA analysis would later confirm that the blood was Denise's. Even throughout his questioning, John never actually disclosed what happened to Denise. But with the way her car had been left, Denise's body, and the evidence found in the house, it all painted a relatively clear picture of the night's events. There was no actual sign of a struggle at the site of the car, but Denise's shoes were scuffed and damaged as if they had been dragged along the floor. It is therefore possible that Denise had been lured away from the car. Inside John's home, police uncovered 2 fake police uniforms, which John may have used to create a false sense of security with Denise. Either way, John had somehow managed to get Denise into his car. He then handcuffed her and drove her to a warehouse, where he was both working and living at the time. Due to the shipping labels found on the boxes inside his house, police knew of this location, and after obtaining a search warrant to inspect the warehouse, they found a deep brown stain behind the new dry wall. Sadly, again upon testing, it turned out to be Denise's blood. While at the warehouse, John covered Denise's face in duct tape and then plastic bags, where he then proceeded to sexually assault her. And once he was finished, he violently struck her with the hammer and nail puller. Forensics could confirm that he had struck her head a minimum of 30 times, leaving her skull in many pieces. John would then leave Denise's body out in the open for 3 whole days. We know this because a receipt for when he bought the freezer on June the 6th was found in his house. With thanks to John's hoarding tendencies, he had made it very easy for police to create a relatively accurate theory on what occurred in June of 1991. John was clearly a sick and twisted man. During their search, authorities would find snippets from newspapers and articles about Denise, including a missing persons poster. A VHS tape was also found in the house, which contained an emotional appeal from her parents Dennis and Ione Huber. Following all of this evidence, a rather strong case was built against John. However, it would take authorities 3 whole years to compile all of it properly. But as all of us know, good things come to those who wait. And finally, on May the 8th, 1997, John stood trial for the kidnapping, sodomy, and first-degree murder of Denise Huber. There was actually so much evidence against his charge of murder that John's defense team simply didn't try to challenge it. Instead, they focused on his other charges. His defense team argued that Denise was not kidnapped, as there was no evidence or sign of struggle at the crime scene. And to add to this, they could not prove that John had caused damage to her shoes. They also argued that the freezing and thawing process could have interfered with autopsy results, and therefore discredit accusations that he had sexually assaulted her. However, this was not a good enough defense, and after weeks of deliberation, John was found guilty on all 3 charges. He was therefore sentenced to the most severe punishment the law would allow, the death penalty. To this day, he is still on death row. As for Dennis and Ione, they finally had some form of justice for their daughter, but the trial would create fresh wounds too. They had already grieved for their daughter when she disappeared, and again when she was discovered. And now, with all the fresh evidence in front of them, they would have to process all of these new facts and begin the healing process all over again. Crimes like this affect local communities heavily, and for Orange County in particular, they really grieved for the loss of Denise Huber. Disappearances hang in the air for a very long time, and nobody knew what exactly happened.
Hi, thanks for jumping in, Misty. Oh, I love Coffeehouse Crimes. Excellent content creator. If you like Coffeehouse Crimes, check out that chapter as well. Really good true crime, murder mystery content creators. Yeah, I love reacting, reviewing, and discussing these cases. So they're pretty awesome. Thanks for stopping by. All right, I'll continue.
To her for more than 3 long years. Denise had the rest of her life ahead of her, and at the age of 23, she was ready to begin her independent adult life. She had dreams of visiting England in the summer, before settling down and focusing on her career. In all this time that she has lost, she could have become a wife, a mother, and even a grandmother. And as these stories go, that life was callously taken away by an ice-hearted killer. And that just about wraps up today's case. But thank you so much, folks, for watching.
Awesome. Another round of applause for him. I just told the person that just came into the chat. Coffeehouse Crimes makes excellent content. Like I said before, that chapter makes excellent content, and one can only wish to create videos like that. That's what's up. Whole true crime community. There's really good content creators. They're such great inspirations. Because the only one I've actually spoken to is Mike from that chapter, and he's such a nice person, such a down to earth. Pretty funny too, and that was awesome. But yeah, this was the killer who kept his victim in an icebox. I'm gonna read real quick the interview that they did to Denise Hoover's parents. They said the wound never heals. It's 25 years after their daughter was killed. Denise Hoover's parents say time helps, but only to an extent, which I could only imagine. Again, this is on the website of, what is it? LA Times, written by Jeremiah Dobrook, and it was posted July 1st, 2016. It says, let's see, so it kind of goes through the whole. Okay, so I'll just read this part because we already know what happened in the case. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just read it. So, shortly after 2 a.m. on June 3rd, 1991, 23-year-old Denise Hoover was driving home from a Morrissey concert in Inglewood when her car blew a tire on the 73 toll road. She was just minutes from the Newport Beach house she shared with her parents. Even while wearing the heels she donned for the concert, it should have been a relatively quick walk to a call box, or even a nearby gas station where she could have asked for help. But her parents, Denise and Ione Hoover, never heard from Denise that night. In the morning, they began calling her friends, asking where she could be. That night, around 10 p.m., one of those friends found Denise's Honda still on the side of the freeway, unlocked, its battery drained from the emergency blinkers that had been left running. Denise was gone. It would take 3 years, and what the Hoover family to this day considers a miracle, before police would discover Denise's body. During that time, her family placed a 6x30-foot banner on the roof of an apartment building overlooking the area where her abandoned car was discovered. It read, "Have you seen?" and included Hoover's likeness, a physical description, and the phone number for the Costa Mesa Police Department. The parents went on television to share their story as they worried and waited for any shred of information. Dennis especially threw himself into the pursuit. "My car was like a rolling billboard with signs all over it," he said. "I looked. Every time I saw some girl with long brown hair, I'd want to see her face." Dang. Sucks because, I mean, it's from the perspective of the parents that had to. Yeah, dude, they had to bury their kid. And then in such a gruesome manner that she was found. The things that was done to her by this completely horrendous human being. That I don't understand why he's whatever. I'm not gonna get into that part, but yeah, we're just hearing it from the perspective of the parent, and that's it's a little gut wrenching, but okay. Authorities eventually came to believe that John Famularo, a 34-year-old painter, had pulled up as Denise walked along the side of the freeway. Famularo sexually assaulted her and killed her by slamming a nail remover into Denise's skull more than 30 times in a Laguna Hills warehouse where he lived and ran his painting business. Instead of disposing of the body, Famularo kept it in a large freezer, even taking it with him when he moved to Arizona. I wonder if that was the only... could there have been any other case that was cold? Like any other cold cases that could have been attributed to this person? Because let me tell you, by the way that this man committed this crime, I would not be surprised if this would have not been the first time he did this. And it was just the only time that he got caught. I don't know. They never mentioned anything else like that, but wow. Again, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So, Famularo was sentenced to death for the murder in 1997. Now 59, Famularo was awaiting the fulfillment of his sentence in San Quentin State Prison. But like other death row inmates in California, it's an open question whether the day of his execution will ever arrive. Let's see. Okay, so capital punishment has essentially been on hold since 2006 because of a judge's ruling that the 3-drug lethal injection used at the time could cause inhumane suffering. It's kind of ironic there. He'll die of old age in the prison, I believe, before he gets the death penalty, Dennis said, and will probably die before he does, Ione added. The couple have been married 52 years. Dennis is now 77 and Ione is 73. Last month, well, this was in 2016, marked the 25th anniversary of Denise's death. Denise and Ione say they've made peace with the fact that their daughter's killer may never actually face the ultimate penalty prescribed for him. It's done, I feel, Dennis said. There's nothing more that can be done. It's up to the state to do something with him. Damn. The wound never heals, he explained. You just learn how to deal with it, and it doesn't hurt quite as much as it did at first. Time helps, Ione said, but only to an extent. I can't tell you how much I still miss Denise, she said. I think of her every single day. Dang. I hope he's someone's bitch in jail. Yeah, I really do. I hope he has to call. I hope he has to call another. I hope he has to call another inmate daddy in jail. I am having a tongue twisted day today. I apologize for that. It happens sometimes. We'll move on to the final case we will be reacting and reviewing tonight. This one is called
A Couple Camping.
Hold on. So this one's called The Moab Creeper. The cases of Kylan Schultz, Crystal Turner, and Lauren Cho. The names sound familiar. I think I've seen something about this case before. I could be mistaken. We'll start it and I'll let you know if this is the one that I've seen. I think I saw maybe it was that chapter that did cover this case as well. I don't know. But nonetheless, I know this one's going to be equally good as the other one because they both make great content. So let's start the video.
In the wilderness would warn friends about a creeper before tragically being killed. And a talented young woman would walk away from an Airbnb before vanishing into thin air. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to another video by Coffeehouse Crime. The structure of today's video is slightly different to my usual, as today we'll be focusing on two cases rather than just one. It was in September of this year, 2021, that the disappearance of Gabby Petito gripped the hearts and minds of people all across the world. In fact, the news over her disappearance was indisputably one of the most publicised missing persons cases ever. And although her case deserved the media attention that it received, there were several other cases which happened at the very same time that collated only a fraction of Gabby's coverage. This video looks at two more of those cases. And just to let you know, but I post solved, unsolved and strange cases here on a weekly basis, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to Coffeehouse Crime. We have a lot to unpack here, so without any further delay, pull up a seat, grab a coffee and sit back. Here are the cases of Kylan and Crystal, and of Lauren Cho. Our first story today begins in the state of Colorado. You can't get much further away from the coast when it comes to the Centennial State. But it makes up for its lack of beaches in many ways. Known for its beautiful landscapes, wildlife, and a huge variety of activities that lie in between, you will never get bored of the outdoors here. You have hiking, mountain biking, horse riding, skiing, canoeing, and much more. There are infinite reasons why almost 6 million people like to call Colorado home. Kylan Schultz was born here on September the 5th, 1996, and 4 years later, her brother Makion would follow. From 2009 through to 2014, she attended Billings Senior High School, located in Billings, Montana. And while she was there, she would also work part-time as a welder. Moving into her adulthood, Kylan was a free-spirited woman. But her life wasn't always easy. After finding herself in an abusive relationship and losing her brother to a fatal shooting, she mentally relapsed into her own shell. And unfortunately, soon after this, she began to experience suicidal thoughts. During this tough time, her father Sean Paul noticed her pain. And so eventually, he convinced his daughter to move with him to Moab in Utah, where she could begin a new lease of life. It was in the year of 2019, while Kylan and Sean Paul were on a hike together, that they bumped into a stranger named Crystal Turner. And following their instant connection, Kylan and Crystal soon found themselves in love with one another. Crystal, who was originally from Hot Springs, had also recently moved to Moab. She was outgoing and known to bring joy and laughter to others. She too enjoyed the outdoors, and she loved to fish, hike, and camp. From here on out, Kylan's troubled history began to fade as her new life flourished. She would go on to tell her father that their move to Moab had quite literally saved her life. Kylan's social circle grew. Her interests became more profound. Her relationship with Crystal stronger. She obtained a job as a cashier at Moonflower Community Cooperative, and Crystal would soon find herself a job at McDonald's too. They moved in together, joined the van life community, had big dreams, and by April of 2021, the two were officially married. Crystal had even managed to buy herself a Harley Davidson, something that she had wanted for many years. To say that Kylan had finally found her feet is an understatement. With a new job, new friends, and a new way of living, she was finally happy again. All of it with thanks to a supportive father and loving partner. And this was a feeling she'd hoped would last forever. It was in the afternoon of Friday the 13th of August that Kylan finished her shift for the day at the Moonflower. And later in that same evening, she met with Crystal and a couple friends at Woody's Tavern, where surveillance cameras recorded the four having drinks. The bar confirmed that no one approached the group during the entire time that they were there, and nothing seemed amiss either. However, while at the bar grabbing drinks, both Crystal and Kylan were very quick to tell their friends about a strange man who was staying right next to them at their campsite. Allegedly, he had been lurking around their tent, watching them and even intimidating them. And he gave off a very strange demeanour. Quite frankly, he was creeping them out. The conversation around this individual came up and passed by, and not long after, the four were on to other topics along with their drinks, before saying goodbye to each other at around 9:30. Kylan and Crystal then returned to their campsite on LaSalle Loop Road. They would continue texting friends later that night, one of them highlighting that the creeper had returned back to the campsite. He parked closer to them this time and appeared to be carrying clothes and food. But very shortly after this text message, Kylan and Crystal stopped texting back. 3 days would pass, and over the weekend, both women wouldn't get in contact with any of their friends or family. And as Monday the 16th of August came around, concern came knocking at the door. It was on this day that Crystal never showed up for work at McDonald's. And after being one person down, her manager couldn't get a hold of her either. But the strangeness didn't end there. Kylan would also miss her shift at work, and she too wasn't reachable by phone. It was in that moment that families started to worry, and by the afternoon, they had reported both women missing to police. The two wouldn't show up to work on Tuesday either, and by now it was very clear that something had gone wrong. With a general lack of media coverage and hardly any boots on the ground, the number of eyes available to search an area so vast made it a difficult procedure for loved ones to locate the pair. Police knew that if they intended to head back into work on Monday, they would have to be somewhere near Moab. But being nomadic folk, they didn't exactly have a house door that they could knock on. It was on the 18th of August that family friend Cindy Sue Hunter joined in on the search for Kylan and Crystal. She started off by searching the car park at McDonald's, a place where Crystal would often leave her Econoline van. And it was still there, but both women were nowhere to be seen. Fast forward a couple hours, and Cindy would eventually find herself searching LaSalle Loop Road, one of the many areas that she would have guessed the two would be camping. During this time, she was on the phone to Kylan's father, Sean Paul. And then finally, after passing by Whispering Oaks Ranch, Cindy recognised their silver Kia Sorento through a clearing. She parked up along FR 4651, a dusty trail just off LaSalle Loop Road, before exiting her vehicle to investigate. The campsite's atmosphere was peaceful, but it was also dreadfully quiet. Not one single man-made noise could be heard. The site was well equipped, with a propped tent and full of amenities, but no one was around. It was almost instantaneous that, as she walked closer, Cindy spotted something unusual towards the creek. And upon further investigation, curiosity confirmed her greatest fears. Tragically, she had found the mangled remains of Kylan Schultz. She was partially undressed, and had incurred multiple gunshot wounds. And close by, Crystal's body was located in a very similar condition. Tragically, at this moment, Cindy was still on the phone to Sean Paul, and after telling him that she had found his daughter's body, Sean Paul told her to get the hell out of there as fast as she could. The discovery was harrowing enough, but with the campsite in a very remote area, and two bodies within immediate proximity, the killer could still very well be around. Cindy ran to the car, fled as fast as she could, and dialed 911. With scarce publicity and coverage to this case, very little progress has been made on finding Kylan's and Crystal's killer. And although this case did briefly make headlines after rumours that Brian Laundrie may have been the murderer, it has since then faded into the background. Moab is just a small town of roughly 5,000 residents, and with Brian confirmed to be in a hotel down the road from the Moonflower for one night, it is actually fairly possible that the three did cross paths in town. But otherwise, there is nothing else that connects Brian to their deaths. And with 5 days of rain and hail before their remains were found, investigators were unable to capture any tyre tracks or footprints, and any potential DNA linked to the crime scene may very well have been washed away too. During the time of their murders, there was actually a wedding going on just an eighth of a mile down the road, in which about 100 guests attended the event. The main cabin even had vantage points which would have had clear views of the campsite. But, disappointingly, no suspects or sightings were deduced from this. And, even worse, police made no effort to control, interview, or even list those that attended. And, unfortunately, that's where this story currently ends. No one knows what happened to Kylan or Crystal, or who murdered them, or even why. Terrifyingly, it is reported that one of the final things Kylan said to her friends was, "If something happens to us, we were murdered." Kylan Schultz and Crystal Turner have left behind 2 families and many friends, all of which are determined to find justice for these 2 women. As for now though, the world is still none the wiser to what exactly happened, and investigations to this case continue.
Jeez. Okay. Let's pause it real quick because he's going to go over to the next case because this one is actually 2 separate cases. In regards to this first one, so this is off. Okay, hold on. It's not exaggerating here. All right, so this is from abc4.com. It's called Police Closed 2021 Investigation into Moab Double Murder After Suspect Believed to Have Committed Suicide. This was a post, it's by Derek Fox, posted December 29th, 2022. So fairly recent. It says Moab, Utah, ABC4. Police officially closed the case on the deaths of 2 women who were shot and killed in Moab in August 2021. Through a timeline of their investigation, law enforcement shared that they believe Adam Pinkusiewicz, wow, so it's Pinkusiewicz, who was identified as a suspect in May, had shot and killed Crystal Beck Turner and her wife, Kylan Schultz, on August 14th, 2021. Police say bullets recovered at the crime scene or Hornady special recovered at the crime scene are Hornady special critical defense rounds. Authorities say Pinkusiewicz committed suicide on September 24th, 2021 in Waterloo, Iowa, just over a month after he allegedly killed the 2 women. He allegedly used similar ammo found at the crime scene. Law enforcement says Pinkusiewicz fled to Waterloo where he had family, despite not being on speaking terms with them. He also had a significant other in Waterloo, who he had asked to stay with him. In the weeks leading up to Pinkusiewicz's suicide, his relationship with the significant other had reportedly begun to sour, with the significant other slowly not responding to him. Police say Pinkusiewicz admitted to his significant other that he had killed Turner and Schultz while they were in a tent and he had thrown the gun somewhere but didn't know where. The significant other told Utah detectives that Pinkusiewicz claimed to have shot the women while they were in their tent because one of them was bossy when he was working. According to... Jeez. What kind of reason is that? Okay, according to Carrie B. Rigby with the Unified Police Department, while the women were killed in the tent and later moved, that information was not made public. Rigby said the only way the significant other could have known that information was if Pinkusiewicz had told them. His significant other said they were scared of Pinkusiewicz at that moment and didn't know what he would do to them. The only reason Pinkusiewicz said anything at all to his partner, was that he used it as an excuse for not finding a job as he didn't want investigators tracking him down. Days before the deaths, Turner and Schultz told their friends they had met a creepy camper, now believed to be Pinkusiewicz, while camping in Moab. They reportedly told friends the creepy camper had set up uncomfortably close to their campsite. They had joked with their friends, saying if they weren't heard from, the friends should come look for them. When Turner didn't show up for work 2 days in a row and Schultz missed a day, those friends became worried. Rigby said Pinkosiewicz and Turner worked with each other at a local McDonald's, though they did not share the same shifts. At one point, Pinkosiewicz had a conflict with Turner when co-workers reported he had seen her behind the counter, not in uniform, making sandwiches for Schultz while asking her what she wanted and calling her baby. Interesting. Pinkosiewicz reportedly had problems with anger, becoming irate with a night manager and making derogatory comments about her sexuality after she told him he needed to work faster. On top of the anger problems, Rigby said through the investigation, police recovered notes of Pinkosiewicz saying he had impulses in him to kill or rape people. I have overworked myself, and that's caused me to feel bad and think negative, evil thoughts, and this doesn't define me or say who I am. One of Pinkosiewicz's notes read, and I can say it another redundantly if I wish. I'm a free person. Local law enforcement eventually reached out to Waterloo police after discovering a black Toyota Yaris registered to Pinkosiewicz leaving the campsite on camera footage about an hour after shots and screams could be heard. Waterloo officials confirmed Pinkosiewicz had committed suicide, but he left a suicide note which mentioned being fired from McDonald's by lefty liberal bosses for not working fast enough. Okay. Pinkosiewicz's family also told investigators they had received a concerning email saying goodbye hours before the homicides took place. Law enforcement officials said they consider the case closed. However, pending new information, it could be reopened in the future. Police say tips came from hundreds of citizens, and at least 19 law enforcement agencies were involved in the investigation. There were a total of 44 search warrants written involving the case. Damn. It's crazy. So it was that dude, that creepy camper they had talked about, and of course. But what surprised me the most is that he used to, not the same shift, but he worked at the same place as one of them. So, what if he had been stalking her or something like that? That's crazy. Okay, let's move on to the second half. It's Lauren Cho.
Our next case today takes us to New Jersey. And just like our previous case, this one received barely any media coverage at all. Lauren Cho, who was nicknamed Elle for short, was a 30-year-old Korean-American woman. She was described as multi-talented, hilarious, and a loyal friend. Lauren was born on the 20th of December 1990, and she was a native to New Jersey. She graduated from Hunterdon Regional High School in 2009, before attending Westminster Choir College to study in music education. During her teenage years, she earned a black belt in Taekwondo, and over the summer holidays, she toured with several choirs across Europe. By the year of 2015, when Lauren was in her mid-20s, she had successfully become a music teacher, working in a high school in Irvington Township. She was a talented soprano singer, and also headed the church choir in her local area. And to complement her creative personality, she was also a chef and an artist through her own passion. Similar to many of us who embark on a long academic path from childhood, Lauren found her adult self doubting her choice in career. And although she had a well-established circle of friends, was getting by just fine, and also made a ton of memories along the way, the 9-to-5 work week just wasn't cutting it anymore. She had become unmotivated in her life, and with that said, she wanted to move away from the East Coast to taste some freedom. It was during the autumn of 2020 that Lauren finally quit her job to start a new life away from teaching. And although she had recently split up with her ex-boyfriend Cody Orrell, the breakup was amicable, and they were still very good friends. Cody had aspirations to travel around America in his van, and so he invited Lauren if she would like to accompany him, which was an offer that she couldn't refuse. Their journey brought the pair of new travellers to Bombay Beach, a tiny coastal village located along the Salton Sea in California. And Lauren and Cody soon found themselves integrating into a community of artists and other bohemian creatives. It was at this stage that Lauren bought an old school bus. She had aspirations to convert it into a food truck that she could then use to make money and travel around in. She would begin this journey by cooking and hosting dinners in the Bombay Beach community, inviting her new friends to try out her many recipes. A move that would both create and solidify her position, as she soon became a foundational centre point to her own crowd. In June of 2021, both Cody and Lauren were invited to stay at an Airbnb called The Hole, a series of caravans located in the Yucca Valley in California. They were among several other guests, those of which that they knew from Bombay Beach. The Airbnb owner was actually their friend, who also turns out to be Tal Raspuli, an Italian-American filmmaker and musician and prince. And soon after this, Lauren became a private chef to the Airbnb property. It was around 3 p.m. on the 28th of June that Lauren Cho, for one reason or another, seemed upset. Cody noticed this, he wasn't sure why, but he didn't pry. Nevertheless, he could tell that something was bothering Lauren, and it's reported that shortly after this, the two had a brief verbal argument. With hot weather, and even hotter heads, Cody headed inside the tour bus to get some space. But when he returned just 10 minutes later, Lauren was surprisingly nowhere to be found. Which was kind of strange. After all, they were in the middle of nowhere. So if she wasn't on the property, where could she have gone to? Cody called out for Lauren, but no response. And after realizing that she was missing, Cody called 3 friends before calling authorities at 5 p.m. He noted to officers that she had Doc Marten boots on and was upset, but she left without her phone, belongings, food, or even water. Apparently she was dating again, but Cody didn't know who. And as for a motive or direction in where she went, that was anybody's guess. And after reporting her disappearance to police, that was it. Media coverage was sluggish, search efforts were small, and out of those efforts, nothing came to light. The life and existence of Lauren Cho just seemed to evaporate in the middle of the desert. By the 2nd of July, only 4 days after Lauren's disappearance, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department formally suspended all search and rescue efforts. It classified Lauren Cho as a missing persons case, citing no evidence of foul play. But the silence felt through Lauren's disappearance would do nothing but perpetuate over the months, as no sightings or clues to her location was ever found. And although friends and family made great effort to push her name out to the public, those attempts failed to ever materialize into something greater. Overhead aerial searches were eventually conducted over Yucca Valley, but no dice. And as for investigations on the ground, only tired legs and dehydration were found at the end of those very long days of searching. It was around this time that additional stress started to be felt in Lauren's case. As Gabby's disappearance started to take a firm grip over Western media, complaints over unequal reporting started to roll in. The general feeling was that, despite both cases being very similar to one another, Lauren's case had barely made it into the public's eye when compared to Gabby's. And statistics over this allegation unfortunately speaks for itself. When you compare the two names against each other on Google Trends, the search volumes for Lauren's name never even made 1% of Gabby's. And Gabby's father echoed this sentiment himself. In a statement, he said, "I want to ask everyone to help all the people that are missing and need help. And if you don't do that for other people that are missing, that's a shame. Because it's not just Gabby that deserves it."
I'll be honest with you. I mean, let's be real. This video's almost over, but there's no lie detected at all with what they're saying there. Yes, I mean, that Gabby Petito case was, the whole situation was bad, and it sucks. Should have never happened. But yeah, dude, during that time, that was all people were talking about. Every single news coverage, every single true crime content creator that I followed, everyone on TikTok, insane with how just how much coverage, how much that case picked up and people were interested in it. And yeah, while all that was happening, these two cases were happening as well, and no one really cared at all. I never know that. And let me tell you something. Bombay Beach is like not relatively far to where I am. So I'm in the Bay Area. It's not far. So this, you can technically say it happened in my neighborhood, but damn, because of the fact that Gabby Petito's case was going on like that, it was, dang, I feel horrible because this happened, like, it's not like it happened a few states away from me or on the other side of the country or something, that it literally happened like 30-40 minutes away from where I am, and I had no idea. That sucks. But nonetheless, yeah, it's horrible. Just disappearing in that manner. I mean, we don't know if she disappeared or not, to be real, but we'll continue. And her dad was right, though. And it's, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit comforting to kind of see that a person that's going through that situation could take the time to actually, give a statement out, looking out for other people that have gone missing as well, that deserve coverage, because they deserve to be found, or their families deserve to know what's going on with them, what happened. That's another thing. It's not only is it the fact that the person is gone, but it's the distress and that's going on with everyone else. That's parents, friends, family members, loved ones in general. It's just crazy. Wow. All right, let's move on.
Investigators eventually took over Lauren's case, and the friends and family of Lauren continued in their relentless determination to find her, frequently using their community page on Facebook called Missing Person Lauren L. Cho to keep those interested in the loop. It was on the 9th of October, around 3.5 months after her disappearance, that San Bernardino's County Sheriff's Department announced that they had found human remains in the deserts of Yucca Valley. And by the 28th of that same month, this concerning discovery had transformed into devastating news. Those remains that were found sadly belonged to Lauren Cho. Reports placing the approximate location of her body not even 1,000 feet from the Airbnb that she was staying in. In a statement posted to her Facebook page, Lauren's sister paid tribute to Elle and thanked everyone who accompanied them during their long search for her. Her sister wrote, "I have been the luckiest to have had 30 years of the best company. My family extends their thanks to all those who have waited with us, stood with us, cried with us, and hoped with us these past several months. The depths of our collective sorrow feels endless as grief demands space for its accompanying emptiness." And that's where we are today. Toxicology reports still have not yet been released, and neither has a determination on the manner of Lauren's death. I'm very sure that more details on Lauren's case will be reported very soon. Whatever those conclusions may be, however, this case will remain tragic. For me, one of the more devastating notes of this case is how Lauren's online coverage never even reached 1% of Gabby's. From disappearance all the way through to discovery, comparing the perceived notoriety of these two cases is like comparing a mouse to a titan, which is very saddening, considering they were both the same. Human. I have many questions on today's cases. For Lauren Cho, her body was found so close to the Airbnb. So, what exactly happened? Going full circle to Kylan's and Crystal's deaths, it is equally as tragic as Gabby's and Lauren's, but with a very terrifying twist, because no one knows who this Moab creeper is, or if he even is the killer. My greatest sympathy goes out not only to Lauren's family, but also to Kylan's, to Crystal's, to Emily's, and to Gabby's. Thank you so much for watching another video today by Coffeehouse Crime. A bit of a different format to my usual videos, but I took this community poll as a good sign to try something new.
Excellent content creator. Oh, I think my iPad died. Oh, what happened? What is happening? Okay, so really quickly before we end today's episode, so there is, dang it, where is it? I had it open. Okay, so the most popular. Okay, I'll start reading from here. So this is from medium.com, posted January 20th, 2022 by Shembaga Lakshmi. It's called The Woman Who Mysteriously Lost Her Life in the Californian Desert, The Baffling Case of Lauren Cho. I'm going to skip through the whole explanation of the case because we already heard it, but I'll read this little portion here. It says, Finding Lauren. It says, for months, people analyzed, discussed, and theorized Lauren's disappearance. While most of them sounded exaggerated, some were more thought out. The most popular theory was based on Lauren's suicidal thoughts. While many believed that she had taken her own life, some were wary of this hypothesis. They argued the police should have found some evidence by now. Some others assumed she hitchhiked to another location before taking the drastic step. Another point of view that many seemed to consider was that someone harmed Lauren, possibly Cody, or her unknown boyfriend. However, many supported Cody because of the time frame and the lack of evidence. He did not have enough time to hurt Lauren, hide her body, and clean up perfectly. In both theories, people assumed Lauren had crossed the realm and wasn't alive. Unfortunately, their assumptions turned out to be true. On October 9, 2021, 3 months after Lauren went missing, the police found her remains in Yucca Valley in the rugged desert plains near the Airbnb rental. The police and sheriff's department are yet to release details about her death. Mind you that this was my notes are just a little bit. January 20th, 2022. So obviously it's been a year and haven't found anything that's a little bit more recent, but yeah, I guess that's all there is to it. And if they haven't released any details about her death, I mean, I guess up until this point, I don't see anything here that's newer than this article that I just read from. Let me see. Someone asked on Twitter, and this was on January 23rd, 2022, has there been any updates on the cause of death and an investigation for Lauren Cho? Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's it. I guess there's nothing else that says that was just a Twitter post someone posted, but I don't see anything else that has any updates. So it's kind of odd that they haven't really stated how she passed away, what happened after the autopsy, what was found. I saw someone wrote on Reddit that let's see. So there's a Facebook page dedicated to finding her where her family addresses rumors she was intoxicated. They say she was not. There's an edit based on what Elle's friends told them and authorities. If you assume the story of her disappearance is accurate, swiftly disappearing without a trace is not consistent with someone being high. For some reason, the public comments on this case have been particularly gross since the beginning. Okay, the family approved for it to go public that her car was packed. And this was a year ago. Okay, this comment was a year ago. It says the family approved for it to go public that her car was packed with clothes and water, and someone in the property took her keys from her. If you go to Instagram and look up the hashtag Lauren Cho, you'll see her friends that created the website for Lauren state those facts. Plus, there is no evidence that shows she ever left that compound. So, with those facts, her walking off to harm herself doesn't really add up. And you know what? I'm tempted to believe it as well. Let's see. To friends. Mm. Okay. Everyone else is just talking about drugs and all that, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's it for this that second portion of the video for Lauren Cho. That's pretty crazy. Dang. Really interesting cases tonight. Shout out to Coffeehouse Crime. Like I said before, creating such great content. Shout out to everyone that stopped by that watched me. Shout out to that person, Misty Allen. Jumped in, said hi. Also loves Coffeehouse Crime. Dude, true crime is such an interesting yet weirdly morbid thing to be interested in. But nonetheless, it's so cool and not cool. I guess it's it's interesting and it's also intriguing at the same time. And I don't know. It's just weird that human beings are so into a true crime like that. But that's it for today's episode. This was amazing. Check me out on Saturday for my variety show that's live here on YouTube. Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this week, but it'll be pretty interesting. This chair, I move a lot and this chair is so uncomfortable. I'm planning on getting another one, but oh man, I think this chair has already reached its end, and I kind of need to go away with it. But like I said, this was awesome. Thank you very much for stopping by. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Like my videos. Comment on them. Share it out to your loved ones. Become a Patreon member for $2 a month if you like what I do and you want to support me further. I have a whole bunch of benefits that go with that. Want to appreciate everyone that has supported me up until this point. Join my Discord, King Angels Entertainment Lounge. Also, that link is in the description box. We watch movies, album listens, documentary, science, art, a little bit of everything, general chat. I'm trying to liven up that Discord a lot more, and with your help, I'll be able to achieve that. So just come on in. It's free. You can chat. Again, we watch movies and all that. Probably next week we'll watch an interesting show. We'll do a week marathon of an episode each day because it's pretty interesting. But you have to join the Discord to be able to know what I'm talking about. You'll see the event link being posted tomorrow. See, is there anything else? Oh, you can find me across social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm everywhere. This was awesome. Like I said before, I love this. I love what I do. I love being here. I love being in front of a camera. I'm hoping this community grows a lot more. I know it will. Persistence, perseverance. That's the name of the game. All right. That's it. I'm talking too much. Have a great night. This is the King Angel Show. I'm King Angel, your host. Have a very good night. Peace.